Commission. All right, I'll restate that so that it's recorded. My name is George O'Neill. I'm chair for the Thompson Inland Wetlands Commission. I'm calling the November 9th, 2020 meeting of the Inland Wetlands Commission to order at 7 p.m. Due to coronavirus pandemic, this meeting is being held electronically using a teleconferencing application called Zoom. So we're operating under the following procedures. I'm going to read them to you. This session is being recorded both for audio and visual content and is under the control of a Zoom host. And I believe we have Amy this evening. I think I saw her. There she is. As our Zoom host. To ensure sound quality, the default rule for this meeting is that everyone will remain on mute. Commissioners and staff will generally remain on mute except when speaking or voting, and will generally be keeping video of themselves on throughout the meeting. Applicants and members of the public should feel free to leave their video on or off. However, they will be asked to turn on their video when speaking. If video is not available for you, you'll not be precluded from speaking at the appropriate time and may listen to the meeting. During this meeting, everyone is asked to state their name each and every time they speak. Please use the raise your hand feature to let me know and the host know that you've raised your hand to speak. So it's always hard to see people raise their hands, especially in this forum. Members of the public may only speak during the portion of the agenda established for citizens' comments on agenda items. And for individuals representing applicants, permittees, and violators listed in the agenda and their representatives, if you are speaking at this meeting and have a document to submit to the commission, which was not distributed in advance of the meeting with the rest of the materials, please indicate that you wish to submit the document. You will need to hold it up to the camera so that the commission and all members of the public are able to view it. In addition, you'll be required to email an electronic version of the document in PDF format to wetlands@thompsonct.org, and Marla will put it together and add it to the formal record. If a member of the public tries to communicate outside of the citizens' comments on agenda in an inappropriate manner, for any reason, or any person creates an audio or video disruption, they may be manually ejected by the Zoom host from the meeting upon my request. So, we try to be fairly flexible on this issue, and I do appreciate that some issues can be emotional, but please try to, maintain decorum and raise your hand, and we can maintain a meeting of some semblance here. It's now time to call the roll. So I will start with Commissioner Chapin.
Yeah, present.
Commissioner Marino.
Present.
Commissioner Obert. George O'Neill is present. That is 3. I don't hear Commissioner Obert. Perhaps he was delayed, or he may join us later. In any case, we'll move on to the minutes. There are no alternates to appoint, so we'll pass on that. No necessary actions there. Action on meetings of the previous meeting. The minutes of September 14th, 2021. Any commissioners have amendments, revisions, or does staff observe any Scrivener's errors that need to be addressed?
No, they look fine.
Marla, was there some item on the minutes from the 14th? I keep thinking there was something, but I just cannot recall it. A correction?
It's on the current agenda. There was an item included on the current agenda that should not have been.
Okay, we're moving on then. Thank you. So hearing no objections, I reviewed it. I see no corrections. The minutes will stand as read. Site walk of November 6, 2021. I believe we're all present. Any corrections, revisions, amendments? Okay.
George, Marla Butt
Yes.
speaking. I have a question.
Yes, please.
The minutes indicate that there was water seen at 2 locations, but it doesn't say anything about at the masonry structure itself. The 2 areas, one was near the little shed that kind of looked like an outhouse. That was the first one you saw in the notes.
Right.
The second one was referring to where there was a in Massachusetts, where water was flowing into a small pipe. But did the commission see any water emanating from the downstream that would be east of the Masonry Dam when you went out?
Okay, let's pose that to the commissioners, Fran or Diane. Did you notice any other?
Well,
Is
isn't
that
that?
by
where
the
you
habit?
One at a time.
Sorry.
Diane?
All right, I was gonna say, didn't you crawl up on, if she's referring to along the dam, didn't you see some seepage up there?
Yeah, I saw real minor amounts. I guess I wouldn't call it, flow, as opposed to, there was some moisture there. I didn't observe a significant amount, although I was trying to balance myself on the top of the dam, so wanted to be safe. I wanted safety was first there, so I didn't notice a lot. I guess there was some below it, below the Masonry Dam. I'm trying to recall the exact location once we crossed into Massachusetts. How about Fran? Did you notice anything?
I believe there had been some flow at that had passed through that Havahart trap, but I didn't see too much active flow at the time.
Right. It's pretty modest, I think. Even that would be the more prominent, or the second most prominent. Certainly where the outhouse, which had a commode or whatever seat in it, was located. The shed certainly had some more flow. The other location was pretty modest, although it certainly was flowing. In other spots, I guess there was moisture, but not like a lot to be noteworthy.
Well, and then where the wooden plank was over the,
Right. There are planks, like little bridges there. So I don't know what to add to your comments other than perhaps, I know when you walked the site, you may have observed, again, the timing too, right? And the amount of moisture that was available.
Okay, you've answered my question.
Right. So any amendments to the site walk or changes? All right. Hearing none, the site walk minutes will stand as read, or as posted. This section is for citizens' comments on agenda items. Do we have any citizens, and do they have any comments? Raise your hand, or we have a total of 11 folks on this call at the moment. All right, hearing none, we'll move on to applications, old applications. The first is a WAA 21025, Route 193 LLC, 49 Thompson Road, Assessors Map 87, Block 53, Lot 8, to construct an event barn with associated parking and drainage, stamped received by Town Clerk on 8/26/21, stamped received by Wetlands Office on 8/30/21, under review. And now that I've made the statement, I'm going to try to switch my desktop so that everyone can look at this item. All right. So, Marla, maybe you can give us an update while I'm transitioning here.
Marla Butt speaking. This application came in, excuse me.
Amy, you need to let me into the to screen share. Go ahead.
Okay, working on that right now. Sorry about that.
No worries. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Marla. Please proceed.
This application was received August 30th, and I have taken a look at the application and the plans, and I expect to be drafting a wetlands agent approval in the next week or so. As you know, I've been unavailable for several reasons out of the office for the last month and a half or so. So I expect to be putting this at the top of the pile to work on. So I don't see any problems with the application. They're well back from any wetlands or watercourse. The stormwater management system appears to be very well thought out. And so there really isn't a whole lot of concerns that I have with this application. And the erosion and sediment controls appear to be okay. And I'm looking at page 10 of the Zoom documents.
Okay, page 10. So I'm on 9. Let me make it 10. Right. Do you see the exhibit?
Yes.
Okay.
yep,
So you've
So
received
there's
it?
no action. Yep, no action required by the commission, and I expect to be issuing a wetlands agent approval in the next week and a half or so.
Right. Thank you. Let's move on to the next item. It's SUB 21027 in Acquisition Associates LLC, 286 Thompson Hill Road, Assessors Map 102, Block 40, Lot 2, two-lot subdivision for conceptual approval stamped received on 9/7/21. Let me just move to that. Is there
George,
anything else?
Marla Butt speaking. This was inadvertently placed on the agenda. It was on the September agenda, and the commission approved that conceptual subdivision plan. So it was inadvertently, it was an error placing it on the agenda for this month's meeting. So there's no action required by the commission because it's already taken action on it.
Okay, let me just move on to the next item here, which is IWA 21028, Wojciech Suka, 1574 Riverside Drive, Assessors Map 55, Block 65, Lot 14. Fill 3,500 square feet of wetlands and 100-foot upland review area for construction of commercial building and associated parking. Stamped received on 9/7/21, statutorily received on 9/14/21. Mr. Suduka granted a 30-day processing extension via email on 10/4/21. What do we have on this one,
Marla
Marla?
Butt speaking. If you go to page 13, it's the email threads wherein I requested Mr. Suduka to give a 30-day extension to the commission. The reason for this is that I was going to be out of the office for the latter half of September and was not returning to the office until after Columbus Day, which would have been the date of the meeting. So knowing that the commission, since the application had come in and had been stamped received statutorily on the 9th of September, the timelines for rendering a decision, you have to do that within 65 days of receipt or decide to hold a public hearing within that time. Not wanting to compress and give the commission time, as well as myself time to review the application, I requested Mr. Suduka grant the commission a 30-day extension. His response was, well, what needs to be done needs to be done. And then he asked, that being said, he was wondering if the 25th was going to be moved as well. And that 25th that he was referring to was the planning and zoning meeting on not any inland wetlands meeting. So in my thread, I thanked him for granting the commission a 30-day extension and suggested he contact the zoning enforcement officer regarding that meeting on the 25th. And to the best of my understanding, on the 25th of October, according to their minutes, the Planning and Zoning Commission granted an approval contingent upon, well, it sounded like it was contingent upon the Inland Wetlands Commission's comments and review.
Okay, thank you.
So that leaves us with the application where it can be explained by Daniel Blanchette, who is here, and can give you a review of what the documents are in the application. When he's done with that, then I would like to talk to you about what I observed on the 18th of October and the implications of that.
Okay, thank you, Marla. Mr. Blanchette, if for the record, if you would introduce yourself, your organization, and your representation.
Yes, good. Okay, not muted. Good evening, everyone. I'm Daniel Blanchette. I'm a civil engineer with J&D Civil Engineers out of Thompson. I'm here tonight on behalf of my client, Mr. Suduka, who's the owner of JJS Universal Construction at 1574 Riverside Drive in Thompson. If it's possible, I'm going to try and share my screen. That way I can point out, if I could share my screen, maybe I could point out features of interest and things like that.
Okay, so Amy, I guess we'll let Mr. Blanchette.
Yes, he should be able to share as well,
Okay.
George.
It says another participant is already
Oh,
sharing this.
I have to release mine. Okay, I didn't realize that. My error. Let me stop sharing my desktop. There we go. Try that, Mr. Blanchette. Give it another shot. My error.
All right, let's share. All right, can everyone see that?
You had it for a moment, then it
Yes, yeah.
disappeared. You can see it?
Got it?
I can see it.
Okay.
All right, everyone.
Continue.
So As you can see, here's the town of Thompson. I'm just going to zoom in. The site is located right on the west side of Route 12 at the Massachusetts line. Now there's an existing building at the northeast corner, and my client is trying to expand his business, and so he wants to build another commercial or light industrial building. Here you can see on the aerial photographs, again, you see the building up in the northeast corner, some parking, some storage, and basically what my client is proposing to do is to build another building to the south. That way he can store some of these vehicles and some of his building supplies that he needs. And as I'm sure, as everyone saw on the site walk, this is a pretty challenging site. What's very unusual about it is that there's a dam, a pond actually at the highest point of the site. And so all our proposed construction is down here, actually below the pond level. And there's several different pockets of wetlands that we've had to work around. Now let me go to my site plan here. All right, excellent. So here's, again, the site plan. Here's the cover sheet. It shows the zone, the location. Okay, now scrolling down to the sheet number 2. Again, here you can see the existing building at the northeast, and then you can see the proposed building at the southeast. Here's Perry Pond on the west side, and then here's Route 12 coming down the east side. We did have a soil scientist delineate the wetlands, and obviously the pond has some associated wetlands with it. There's a pocket of wetlands at the southeast. There's a pocket of wetlands kind of at the middle east. There's a pocket of wetlands again that we're gonna fill. We're proposing to fill those with the proposed building and parking lot. And then there's also proposed wetlands here. And so the building is really kind of situated in between all these pockets of wetlands. We tried to minimize any potential wetland disturbance, but unfortunately some was required. The site's about 7.5 acres in size. We're proposing to disturb about 3,500 square feet of wetlands, which is basically this entire pocket will be filled in. We did have the soil scientist went back and conducted a ecologic evaluation of those wetlands, and just to make sure that nothing important would be harmed. And he basically found nothing that's really crucial, nothing endangered. He found things like red oak, red maple, cinnamon fern, dewberry, and that report has also been provided along with our application. We have a pretty detailed drainage system here, a stormwater management system that I'll get into. I'll say we did submit these plans to DOT for an encroachment permit for the new driveway. And DOT reviewed the site plans, they reviewed the drainage calculations, which is about a 50-page report. And they had very minor comments. They asked for a sign to be relocated. They asked for a double yellow line to be marked. They had 4 or 5 comments, but they were pretty minor, and nothing having to do with the drainage system. Now, let me see if I should scroll. Okay, yeah, so this is a little bit more of a zoomed in picture. Nope, too much. So again, so the proposed building is kind of just cut off the site. The existing building is cut off. Here you can see the proposed building. There'll be a new driveway coming in off Route 12. This will be a large parking area. Again, there'll be some pretty large vehicles inside here, so we need a lot of room for turning. And then there will be a driveway that connects up north to the existing structure. There's also some parking on the west-hand side and some parking around and back, because this building is actually, it's basically a large garage building. You can see it split into 8 separate bays. Each bay has an oversized garage door at either side. And so this is handled to park potentially very large, tractor trailers, semi-trailers, any of his other construction vehicles, and a lot of his building supplies, pallets of roofing and siding, things of that nature. Here you can see there is a well. It's actually not shown on this sheet. There's a well up here. to the northwest of the building, a septic system down here. Unfortunately, I do not have a septic system approval from NDDH. The plans were submitted in late August. I spoke with Maureen Marcoux about 3 weeks ago. She said she had received it. We talked briefly about the number of employees that would be using the site, but unfortunately, I have not heard back from NDDH. And as Marla mentioned earlier, the Planning and Zoning Commission did approve this at their last meeting with the condition that Wetlands and NDDH eventually approve it as well.
That those are key points.
Yeah,
Thank you for that presentation. Anything else, or?
if I could just have another minute, sorry.
Sure, of course.
I'll get into the drainage system a little bit. So again, here's a parking lot. That water is potentially polluted, so it's going to go into a grass swale for treatment. Then it will flow into an infiltration basin for further treatment. And then lastly, under very large storms, it will overflow into the wetlands here. This wetlands then continues around to the north of the site. There's an intermittent water course here that I'm sure you observed this weekend that will be piped. You can see there's a catch basin here that will catch that water, and it will be directed under the driveway into this pocket of wetlands, which finally crosses Route 12. Then for the building and the parking to the north, that will, again, we all directed into this stormwater basin for treatment. It'll infiltrate into the ground, except for very large storms where it will overflow into the wetlands, and then everything heads across the street. And I think that's it.
All right, thank you, Ms. Blanchett. Commissioners, I know that you both walked the site, and I don't see Commissioner Ober as well, but perhaps you have an opportunity now to ask questions of Mr. Blanchett. Dan?
I really don't have anything at this point.
Fran? Thank you.
I was a bit concerned by the kind of flow that's going where the proposed gravel driveway is. And some of it was obstructed by a bucket that was shoved in one of the pipes. And I guess my concern is why not just use the driveway that goes onto Route 12 to avoid interacting with all those wetlands.
Ms. Blanchett?
Yes, thank you. That's a good question. And basically, the answer is that my client feels it will be inefficient. It'll be a lot more work for him to have to go north around on a state highway and then back into the site. He would, strongly prefer, for ease of operation, to be able to drive straight down into his new building.
And the other concern I had was with a lot of equipment like that, there's bound to be dripping and petroleum products that kind of get loose. And how is that going to be dealt with so that it doesn't seep into the wetlands?
Absolutely. As I mentioned before, this stormwater system was designed with low impact development principles. There's no peak increase in runoff. So again, we're not generating more total runoff from the site for this because of these methods of capturing and infiltrating the groundwater. There's also a standard that's called basically, you have to remove a certain amount of solids from dirty stormwater. And so again, parking lot, stormwater coming from the parking lot is potentially polluted with salt, with sand, with maybe some kind of oil or chemicals, as you said. And so we have treatment, again, which has been designed according to the state manual to treat that runoff before it enters the wetlands. Again, we have grass swales and infiltration basins here. And we also have a large infiltration basin here. And now those are sized to capture the first inch of rainfall. People have found that the first inch of rainfall is the most polluted. That's what would capture anything. And so again, for 1 inch of rainfall, all of our stormwater would be properly treated. None of it would flow directly into the wetlands.
Thank you.
I do have a question, George O'Neill speaking. What consideration was given to riparian buffers? I noted that, where your proposed drive is, it really traverses that existing intermittent flow in wetlands, and it seems like you're parsing the wetlands with a pipe, and so it's certainly that's a concern. Then I'm also concerned about perched culverts to inhibit the transit of aquatic and other related life. So maybe you could speak to that subject.
Okay, I'm sorry, could you restate your first question again, Mr. O'Neill?
Yeah, riparian buffers. I mean, how are the creatures going to go from one wetland to the other if you've created a driveway with a pipe? Normally you'd have some method for them to, to the turtles and the salamanders and frogs and whatever, creatures, wetland creatures crawling up there. How would they, as it is right now, they can go up to that stream bed, up to the pond or down to the below, but was there any consideration given for riparian buffers?
There was, but as I mentioned, this is an extremely challenging site. My client actually wanted to build a much larger building, and we scaled it down quite a bit because there's so many wetlands nearby. Again, we tried our best to maintain those buffers, but unfortunately, this is the design we came up with that has the least impact.
I see. All right, that was one concern, and as you point out, there are lots of fair amount of wetlands there, and it's something that we're creating sort of obstacles to that, and certainly some parts can be are unavoidable, and other areas can be addressed. So, all right, thank you for clarifying that.
Chairman O'Neill,
Yes, Fran.
could you tell me how big the proposed, with the size of the proposed pipe across that driveway area?
Maybe, yeah, Mr. Blanchett.
Yep. And again, so this was all modeled in our drainage software. And so this pipe has been sized to handle the necessary flow. Just going to zoom back up here and see.
How big is it?
A 15-inch corrugated plastic pipe.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
George, I have a number of questions.
Go ahead.
If the commission is done.
Yes, Marla, go ahead.
Okay. If you go to your sheet on the plans, sheet 3 of 6. Let's start there. You show a catch basin under the proposed gravel driveway coming from the north.
Yep.
You do not provide an invert, and you do not identify what the ground level is at that catch basin. So what is the invert for that catch basin in relation to the ground located to the west of that catch basin?
Absolutely. So if you go one sheet up, you'll see that the frame elevation is specified as 448. So again, once water reaches the elevation of 448, it's going to enter the catch basin, and then it'll cross the stream. And so scroll back down, the proposed ground at that elevation is 450, 48, 46, about 444. So we're raising up about 4 feet here. We're making a little embankment to grab that water.
So you're expecting there to be water impounded behind that catch basin, correct?
Yep. Yeah, water will. Yeah, that'll act as a little bit of a dam again and provide more storage here before it spills over.
Okay, so there currently isn't any pooling of water at that location, correct?
At which location? At the stream here or at the wetlands?
Catch basin, just west of the catch basin.
Yep.
Because the catch basin is going to raise the water pooling capability of, you said, to about 4 feet in depth. So my question is how are you anticipating there to be standing water there during high flow times or during times of high runoff?
Yes, correct.
Okay. What about during low flow times?
So
Do
during
you expect it to be stagnant?
I don't. I expect it to be infiltrating into the ground for the most part. I don't believe there's a lot of standing water here at the moment. There's probably a little bit, but it's been a very wet summer. And again, there's not an obvious pond or a huge amount of water here sitting currently.
So the top of grade of that catch basin, what is the top elevation for the road at that location? How much freeboard do you have
We have
before that
one,
potentially could overtop?
we have 1 foot as recommended by the manuals. There's 1 foot of freeboard there.
So in a very heavy rainstorm, is it possible that your driveway will overtop?
It's possible.
If that catch basin,
Yep, it is possible. And that was designed with again, there's a low point basically right above the pipe. So during a very high rainfall event, if water is overtopping or can't be handled by the catch basin, it would spill over right here, which is below
Okay,
any of the buildings.
so this is a gravel drive, is it not?
Correct, yep.
So overtopping a gravel drive could cause that gravel drive to be eroded?
Yes,
Then also, there is a double dash dotted line located to the north of that catch basin.
yes, yep.
Explain what that is.
So I believe this is kind of the primary outfall for the Perry Pond Dam. If I can scroll back up, the Perry Pond Dam it's pretty unusual. And basically water spills over here, again, down into the wetlands before heading east. And then I believe the primary outlet is up here somewhere, where water is kind of bleeding through under the dam, but also there's some kind of primary outlet here that's directed to this catch basin and then down to our little intermittent channel here.
But right now, you do not actually know where that water comes from or flows to, correct? You do
Correct.
not have details on that storm drainage system. Okay, I did not see the outfall to that pipe that you show on the plans when I went out in the field. And I don't believe the commission saw it either, according to their notes, the minutes that they had. Now, I'm not talking about that one. I'm talking about the one next to the driveway catch basin, just north of the catch basin, that one. I could not find that outfall. I don't recall seeing it.
You and I saw that when we walked the site together, Marla. You and I saw that, and it was flowing with a little bit of water. And then we came up to the catch basin, and again, we could see water flowing through that as well.
When we went in, we crossed the little water course on some planks.
Yep.
I did not see the pipe at that time. We walked all the way around the site and then came to that catch basin beside the large building. We could hear water flowing in it, but I never did see the outfall to that wherever that drainage system was.
Okay, I saw it. I thought I pointed it out to you, but apparently not. So I apologize.
If we may interrupt, it's covered
Who's
by.
State your name, please, for the
Yep.
record.
Yep,
My
who's
name is
that?
Justin Sudicka. I am the son of the property owner. The property owner is here as well. So basically, the outfall of the pipe is currently covered with leaves, I believe, dirt. Because it's 2 feet below the current grade, I believe. So I guess it could be cleaned out so that you could actually see the physical pipe, but it is there. So if that answers.
So my next question is for Daniel. Did you incorporate the drainage from that pipe in your hydraulics?
No, we didn't. Again, and it's our opinion that the dam is really a separate issue. Whatever water is coming off that dam, again, is not going to be affected by the proposed construction. This is all downstream of the dam, and we're not increasing any peak runoff from the site. So whether I have 1 cubic feet coming through this pipe or 100 cubic feet, again, that's kind of a separate issue. I'm not increasing anything here with my proposed construction, and so none of this work is going to impact the dam.
I'm not worried about the impact onto the dam. I'm worried about the capacity of that cross culvert underneath the proposed gravel drive, capable of handling the flows that it might receive from Perry Pond runoffs or drainage coming from it, since it's not included in your hydraulic analysis. Nowhere in your hydraulic analysis have you identified or referenced the dam at all, even though site walk that I performed on the 18th of October, which the notes are in the Zoom meeting documents. I saw runoff, I saw water flowing from 3 different locations, which appeared to be generated from Perry Pond. The first being what you identified as the 12-inch CCP there near the shed. That's the southernmost outfall that I saw. And then I saw another water flowing from the toe of the masonry and mortar dam, draining towards an area that was located a little to the north, which had a have-a-heart trap over a small plastic pipe. That small plastic pipe, which was located in Massachusetts, also was receiving water from the toe of the earthen embankment of Perry Pond that is located in Massachusetts. So that small pipe, which then I believe is the one you're referring to, that goes down to the catch basin for the gravel drive, is receiving water from 3 different discharges, apparently emanating from a source of Perry Pond. The one near the shed, the one near the masonry, the mortar, stone and mortar dam, and another one from the toe of the earthen embankment that's in Massachusetts. So is this dam registered in Connecticut?
It's not, but I will show you it's cataloged in Massachusetts.
Unfortunately,
Where'd I go? Here we
if you go back to your map geo, you had a screen up. I don't know if you had that still
Mhm.
active. Yeah, if you turn on the topography, that's 2-foot 2016 LiDAR topography. You can actually see that there's an embankment in Massachusetts. And it's part of the dam, and when you look at the topography in Massachusetts, you can actually scroll out a little bit and you'll get the topography as it heads north. Now that looks like there could have been some sort of drainage that could have gone north, but there's no evidence of overland flow when you turn the aerial photography on. That's already a subdivision now up there.
Mhm.
The Massachusetts Dam Safety may have identified it as registered there with not having any potential impact, because that might have been in Massachusetts, because when you look at the site, there is a low area at the toe of that embankment that drains towards Connecticut. Any overland flow or any breaching of that dam would likely flow into Connecticut, but Connecticut doesn't have it as registered, and therefore there's been no hazard classification identified for that dam. And that becomes problematic, because if it were registered and its hazard classification identified as a Class B dam or a Class BB dam, then it would be of concern as to what condition that dam was in. If DEEP identified it as a Class A dam, they would not regulate it, and therefore there should not be as much of a concern over it. If George, if you scroll down to, if he stops
think-
screen sharing.
I think Daniel still has it at the moment.
Yep.
Mr.
Okay.
Blanchett does.
Sec.
All right, so let me go back to my screen share. Give me a moment here. And grab my screen. Please let me know if it doesn't come up. Do you see it?
Yep.
Mhm. Yep.
Okay.
Go to page 94.
94. Okay, hold on.
Yeah. Those are the recommendations that I gave to the Inland Wetlands Commission to do a site walk based upon my inspection of October 18th. Attached to that were some documents and diagrams, but also I attached the stream stats report from Perry Pond. This is the USGS's stream stats program. The interesting part about the stream stats program, that it identified the outfall to Perry Pond heading north towards into Massachusetts, but that is not verified by the aerial photography, because there is no indication that there is a water flow or a stream flow based on the aerial photo interpretation. I did identify the contributing watershed to Perry Pond, and it is just a little over 37 acres. And I don't know how DEP would look at this. There's so many unknowns about this dam as to where's its principal outfall. No one seems to know. Does it go north into Massachusetts, or is it heading south in through the Sudoku site? These issues are concerning. And I consider this application to be incomplete without an assessment of the function and condition of that dam. Because that dam, if it were to fail, say the masonry spillway were to fail, or if the embankment near the shed that was referred to before were to overtop during a large storm, what effect would that have on the driveway for the building? And also, what effect could it have on the DOT Route 12 crossing? And I don't believe that DOT, when they did their evaluation, considered the dam and its watershed in their evaluation. I suspect that they didn't even realize that there was a dam there that had the potential for failing into Connecticut. So I will be contacting DOT to let them know of the questions that I have regarding the function and status of that dam. What investigations did you do, Daniel, regarding the function and capability of that dam? Were you able to identify an actual outfall in Massachusetts?
No, I was not. Nope. We didn't we did not really do any work in Massachusetts. All our work was in the Connecticut side. I would like to respond to the comment earlier that the 4-inch pipe was not included in our drainage model. And that was for a couple reasons. It's not that we forgot it or we decided, basically what happened is we decided it was trivial and almost impossible to model. It's a 4-inch pipe. I've been there many times over the summer. We've had a very wet summer and that pipe was never more than a quarter full. So it appears that even under very wet conditions, there's minimal flow through that 4-inch pipe. And then secondly, with our software, there's no way to really calculate without knowing a lot more information. Again, it's going to take a tremendous effort. You'd probably have to go out, dig up those structures, calculate their inverts, calculate their sizes, and there's no simple way to model it. So that's why in my professional judgment, it was not included in the model.
Right. Point taken. The question that one of the things that I did want the commission to know, that when Mr. Sudoku acquired the property, in the recorded deed on volume 791, page 268, there is a boundary map showing the ownership of 75.5 feet going into Massachusetts. That would be the extension of Mr. Sudoku's property near the masonry spillway area. So it would appear that Mr. Sudoku not only owns the entire stone and mortar dam portion, but also a good portion of the earthen embankment that is clearly a man-made condition. So at the map that is in there does not show the stone and mortar dam, the one that's on the recorded deed. It only shows the property boundaries, which is basically an extension of the Sudoku western boundary heading north by 75 feet. One of the things that I am concerned about is that whether or not this dam, it was not referenced in the deed to Mr. Sudoku's property. It wasn't referenced in any of the 4 preceding deeds, but it was first referenced. The dam was first referenced in the transfer of land in 1993 on volume 301, page 107. And the specific reference is found on page 109 of volume 301 and makes reference to the dam. The dam is referenced in a deed, according to that deed, is referenced in volume 2415, page 291 of the Worcester District Registry of Deeds, dated July 7th, 1944. So there's a lot of questions about, in my mind, about the function and capabilities of that dam. And I would encourage the commission not to approve this application until the hazard classification and functional capability of that dam, what it has on the effects of the proposed development.
Marla,
Mhm.
I have a question.
Go
Is
ahead.
there a mechanism by which that dam could be inspected and classified?
It's my understanding that there's a state statute requiring it to be registered, and it is not registered. Usually when DEP gets a registration, then it will decide the hazard classification.
Okay.
Low hazard would mean it wouldn't be a threat to life or property at all, and that's a Class A hazard dam. Class C hazard dams, which is the highest hazard dam, would cause a loss of life and property, which I don't think this is one of those. But the Class B and the Class BB hazards are ones that may cause or likely cause a threat to life and or property damage.
How
So
would
I
one
don't
go
know.
How would one go about registering it?
The forms are online at DEP's website. And they would then receive it, and then they would determine the hazard classification based upon the information provided on the dam.
Is this done by the landowner?
Yes,
Or-
it is required to be done by the landowner.
Okay, thank you.
How long, I have a question. This is Commissioner O'Neill. How long will it take to do that? I mean, from a time standpoint, is it something that can be done, they'll do quickly, or do we have a feeling for that? Or, you know, I take it, you know, Mr. Blanchett and the owners didn't look into this. So is it like months and years, or is it something that'd be done fairly expeditiously?
It's not something that
Well-
would be done before the next meeting, no.
It is something, given the fact that DEEP has been short-staffed, and due to COVID, they have not been in their offices. A lot of work has been backed up. So I'd have to contact dam safety. In fact, my plan is to contact them regarding this dam and embankment. And knowing that it is registered in Massachusetts, there may be additional information that Massachusetts has on this dam, but it may be they only have the portion that's in Massachusetts and don't have the portion that's in Connecticut. Unfortunately, its potential failure could be in either state. Whether it caused damage in either state, it's not likely it would cause damage in Massachusetts based upon the topography that currently exists. If the embankment in Massachusetts failed, it would fail and drain into Mr. Sudoku's property,
I see.
then through his yarding area.
All right, so got an unregistered dam, and having been involved with some dams, I know that I think it's the property owner's responsibility to register a transfer, but I don't know how current those statutes are. And that would be a research question, probably a legal question, but that should be determined, I guess. But so what are the next steps? Do you recommend, Ms. Butts?
Well, I'm going to offer two suggestions. The first suggestion would be that Mr. Sudoku withdraw his application and file a dam registration, get an evaluation of the dam's status of its functional capabilities. And once it's identified as what its hazard classification is, if it's in good shape, then this application could proceed. If it is found to be in an unsafe condition due to the seepage that's occurring, or due to lack of spillway adequacy, or because you're supposed to have 1 foot of freeboard for a 100-year return frequency storm. I don't even know that if that exists for this. I don't know where that would be on a 37-acre contributing drainage area. So these are questions that would have to be resolved first. So my first suggestion would be to have Mr. Sudoku withdraw the application, and the commission grant him the right to resubmit without paying another application fee, should he resubmit the application after finding out what the condition and status of that dam is. Alternatively, if they choose not to withdraw the application, then I would recommend that the commission go to a public hearing on the application and that it assign a complex application fee for it to cover the costs of having an engineer with experience in dam design and maintenance to review the application and the hydraulics to determine what the status of the risk might be for this site.
Okay, so I
And
understand.
that could come,
Go ahead. I'm sorry, I thought you were done.
I was going to say, I almost was, but then I forgot. I wanted to give an idea of what cost might be. I know that the town of Thompson recently had a dam inspected, Langer's Pond Dam, a couple of years ago, and the cost to the town of that was $3,000. I don't know exactly what the cost of the review of this would be, but if you have to go to public hearing, you have to have a civil engineer with experience in dams and dam safety to evaluate the situation.
Okay, so if I understand your recommendations correctly, consider, and we perhaps can determine this now, whether the application can be withdrawn so that the status can be determined, and then resubmit it without a further application fee. That's one choice. The second choice would be then, if that's not amenable to the applicant, then we go to a public hearing and we go for a complex application fee, which could be $3,000 to $5,000 probably, it sounds like, and we'll go that route. So it seems that commissioners, do you have any further comments or observations or thoughts here?
I think it might be prudent to get more information and determine the status of the dam.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, this is
Yes.
Janet Blanchett from J&D Civil Engineers. Could I
Ms.
possibly?
Ms.
offer a
Blanchett, would you like to comment? Yes. Go ahead, Janet.
The thing that I can understand Marla's concerns, and she, rightly thinks there could be some problems, but dam safety, dam repairs, dam registration does fall under the jurisdiction of DEP. And as this commercial project proposed is downstream, it seems like they're kind of separate, independent issues. And from the perspective of this applicant, it's really harming his ability to move forward for something that's been in existing conditions for years and years, that hasn't been a concern of DOT, even though the drainage runs towards them. I mean, could the applications be split? I mean, could there be, if the Wetlands Commission wants to have more information on the dam, could they consider like some separate agenda item that wouldn't, in effect, hold this commercial project hostage to a process that's going to take many months?
But that's an excellent point, Ms. Blanchett. And so what you're suggesting is that we do have two access roads here, and the issue, I think, if from listening to our wetlands agent, is the drive or the bridge driveway across the wetlands. So are you suggesting you could might possibly consider parsing that and say, well, no matter what, you've got a road access on Route 12 before we go into the wetlands portion, right? Because that's the issue here, the flow.
That would be a good alternate.
That way you can dual track. You're suggesting, and again, I'm trying to recap what you said. That would address the issue of flow and the existing wetlands, and until such time as that can be moved forward. And concurrently, no matter what, you can proceed, or could possibly, if approved, proceed with the building process. And really, the only thing in the balance would be that drive across the wetlands, right? So that way, it's sort of a win-win scenario. We can address the wetlands and the flow, and still have your building. Now, the only downside is if it turns out that there is a major, hydrology issue, then we wouldn't have the driveway. At least you wouldn't have it immediately, right? You maybe have to have some other remedy, or maybe some other solution. But is that what you're basically suggesting?
That's what I'm suggesting. I believe the client is on as well, so that would be something maybe he would have to weigh in on. We hadn't discussed that as an alternate, before this meeting.
But from a practical standpoint, it seems to, I think they recommend some good points. So, Marla, what do you think of this as a third alternative?
I think it's a very strong, good alternative to modify the plan, to remove the temporarily, at least for now, until the dam situation is determined, remove the gravel driveway that comes from the main building to the north so
Right.
that there is no obstruction at that location. But that would require the submission of a modified plan showing what the grades would be.
You broke up a bit, Marla. I think you got cut off, actually. Now that there's probably bandwidth questions here. Maybe I should come back in a moment. It sounded like an affirmative, but Mr. Blanchett, did you capture the essence of what Marla was the path she was taking on this?
I think so.
That's when she tunes in. I don't know what happened to Marla. I hope she can dial in.
Yeah, while we have a second, I'll interject too,
Okay.
and just say one final thing. There's been some mention of what happens if the dam fails? What happens if the dam collapses? Could it wash out this? Could it wash out that? And I'd just like to mention that it's not typical to use that as a condition when you're sizing pipes. You don't worry about what happens if the dam fails when you're designing a pipe for a road. If the dam fails, I don't know how badly it's going to fail. Some stuff probably will get damaged. Maybe Route 12 will get washed out. Maybe my driveway will get washed out. But again, it's not typical in this type of thing to design stormwater systems to handle a dam failure.
Sure. Well, good point. The black swan events, or the three standard deviations from the mean and all that. I mean, way out the tail, thin tail probabilities are certainly hard. Typically not designed, I think is what you're suggesting, So I think we're trying to balance safety and the wetlands with the, commercial interests to make things move forward. I think we have Marla back with us. Marla, can you hear us now?
Yes, I can. I somehow got disconnected.
Yeah.
But yes, I'm back. So then
Okay.
probably the easiest way to resolve this would be to have Mr. Sudoku grant another 30-day extension to provide the time to come up with the modification of the plan, leaving off the gravel drive from the main existing building, and then having them file a registration with dam safety and letting Connecticut's dam safety, and let them identify the hazard classification. Whatever happens on Route 12 would have happened on Route 12 anyways, should this dam have failed with or without that driveway. So those conditions have not changed. And then he would have a driveway that would come onto Route 12. My only question is, does he need a turning radius for his vehicles in order to utilize the storage facility? How much does he need in order to be able to make that work for him? Because he's going to have the ability to turn around since he's not going to have the access to the north. That they need to identify
So
as to whether or not they have
if I
adequate.
could interrupt.
Okay, Mr. Sudoku, would you like to be recognized?
Yeah, it's still
Okay.
Justin here, the son
Okay.
of the landowner. Yep.
Okay, Mr. Justin Sudoku. Yes, you
So
may comment.
the idea behind the gravel driveway that we're talking about is a lot of our equipment isn't road legal. Forklifts, excavators. That was the reasoning behind that. Instead of, it wouldn't be cost effective to move a machine from one building to the other. That was the whole, kind of idea behind that. So I'm just, I just want to make sure that, yes, we'll be willing to get rid of that for now, but down the road, that is something that we'd be still interested in taking care of, to have that driveway there, in fact.
Daniel with J&D again. That driveway is pretty important for turning. The biggest trucks are not going to be able to back into the garage without that driveway.
George, another suggestion then.
Right.
If they included in the hydraulics the 37 acres and runoff from that, and instead of using the small size pipe under the gravel driveway, if they maximized the pipe so that it could take the flow, should the dam potentially breach with the 37 acres, if they upsize the cross culvert such that it could handle the flows should the dam breach, so that it wouldn't cause a backup and washing out of the driveway and whatever other features that are there, that might be also an alternative. But that would mean a larger structure, a much larger structure, and a revision of the hydraulics to say, okay, if the dam breached, given the size of the pond, the depth of the pond, and the contributing drainage area, what size structure would you need there? Would you need a small bridge, or what would you need? That would be another way of going around it. Is planned for there to be that kind of flow.
Okay.
That would
So-
be an absence of having an evaluation of the dam's breach analysis.
So-
Mr. Blanchett, do you have any comments on that?
Yeah, Daniel with J&D real quick. I'd just like to say that if the dam fails, there's no way we could design something there to handle that water. You know, I design a stormwater system to handle the 100-year storm, a storm that happens, there's about a 1% chance of that storm happening. There are things called 500-year storms, but generally we don't size things to handle a 500-year storm. At a certain point as engineers, we understand that something will get damaged. We cannot design a pipe or a catch basin to handle a 500-year storm. And I suspect it's the same with Perry Pond. If there was a massive failure and you have all that water pouring out across the site in a matter of minutes, and maybe Janet could interject, she's more of the expert, but I don't think there's any way we could size a pipe to handle water from the dam failing.
I actually think you and Marla are talking oranges and apples potentially. You're talking about really a dam breach, Daniel, like with that, like a huge quantity, not only what's flowing in, but the storage of the pond. And I believe that Marla just suggested that you pretend there's no pond there, just model it like it's 37 acres of woods. And instead of not having that drainage area included in the model. So then we actually did look at the flows that from that USGS report that you submitted, Marla. And for that, the 100-year flows that they projected for that watershed actually weren't really high. I think weren't they like 18 CFS, something like that, Daniel?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
So just the flow, if the dam was improved, say, to let the water out, then the pipe under the driveway could be sized to handle that. If the whole dam, broke in the whole storage volume, that type of analysis just isn't done, and road culverts aren't designed for breach dams. Does that make sense?
That makes sense. So that you would be incorporating the contributing watershed from the lake, from Perry Pond, as well as Perry Pond itself, and assume that it was the primary outfall for that watershed coming through that pipe under the driveway, including that with whatever other drainage that you have coming in that doesn't drain from Perry Pond itself. Yes, that would be acceptable. They'd still have to register the dam and get a hazard classification, but it wouldn't be dependent upon whether or not that driveway crossing would be required or not to be.
And that would enable the Wetlands
prohibited.
Commission to act.
Yes, but they'd need to have the revised drawings for the sizing and the revised hydraulics for the sizing of that.
Well, I guess it's something that can be investigated.
And still, the commission needs to have a 30-day extension from Mr. Suduka in order to perform this have the time to perform the additional work. Because if the revised plans do not come in, then the commission would be forced to render a decision without having held a public hearing, because it would sound like the commission may not be looking forward to holding a public hearing at this point in time, and therefore would need an additional 30 days to make sure that it gets the right drawings in that meet its concerns. Would Mr. Suduka be willing to give another 30-day extension?
Yes.
I heard Mr. Justin Suduka said he would affirmatively.
Yeah.
Justin is not the applicant. The
Okay.
applicant-
Yeah, I said
We're
yes.
both here. We're both here.
Okay.
I said yes.
State your name for the record then.
Wojciech Sudyka.
Right.
And
All right, then.
you're granting a 30-day extension,
Yes.
Mr. Suduka?
Yes,
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Suduka. All right, so we have an extension. You're going to make the formal revisions. We'll get the move this, advance the process. What remains to be done during this meeting?
Nothing at this point in time. It can be tabled pending the receipt of revised hydraulics and cross culvert for the gravel driveway.
All right, then. Thank you very much, Mr. Blanchett, Ms. Janet Blanchett, and Mr. Suduka for working with the commission to find a solution. And hopefully this will find a path to advance the whole project. All right, so that concludes this particular item. There's no further action required. We can go on to new applications. And I'm going to move my
George,
what?
Daniel needs to stop sharing.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sharing. George is.
I am. That's me.
Ah,
Sorry, we were sharing the
okay,
same thing.
sorry.
I'm on 97. We were back on 6. Was it 15 or something? Yeah, I think we were 15.
103.
103. How do we get from
You want to go to 103?
103? Okay. All right. Thank you. Let me just give me a moment while I get my layout correct. All right. New applications. All right. Thank you very much. Agenda item is new applications DEC 21030, Diane Chapin. It's a familiar name. 382 Lowell Davis Drive Road, Assessors Map 99, Block 43, Lot 5F. Construct outdoor riding and arena in a 100-foot upland review area as agriculture use permitted as of right, received on 11/8/2021. So this is just receiving an application, correct?
No, this is actually rendering a determination whether it's a use permitted as of right. Diane is asking for the right to construct an outdoor riding area that's approximately 20 feet by 20 meters by 60 meters. And it's all in the upland review area. It's not in wetlands at all. And she will be using as a base of it, a 6-inch stone compacted. And there's about 2 inches of angular sand on top of that. The sub base would be compacted prior to the base, which would also be compacted. If you look at the map that I put in a locus map with her application, so you can see where her property is. That's on page 107 of the Zoom documents. And she has provided a drawing showing the location of the disturbed area for the riding arena. And that's on page 108. Her barn in the picture that you have is right there in the the northern portion of her property. It's a white square. That is her barn. Okay. And then she has identified in red the location of the the outdoor arena. And none of it appears to be in wetlands or water courses. It's all non-wetland soils. So technically, uses permitted as of right are for work in wetlands and water courses. There's no reference to work in the upland review area. The commission currently has, and it doesn't distinguish that in its regulations. And so I asked Diane to submit the request for declaratory ruling. My opinion would be that this is not a regulated activity because it is covered under agriculture, and it is not in wetlands and water courses at all, although it does involve some grading and earth moving work, but it is not, it's only in the upland review area.
So in your case here, we've got 3 to vote. So there is a vote required, but no votes required.
Diane can't vote.
Right, she recused herself in this, I would expect, or abstain. So we've got 2. So you just want our opinion to you? Is that what you're suggesting? So you would be at liberty to grant a in the wetlands agent, or no further
No,
action?
I would state that this is not a regulated activity.
All right. Based on the information
That it is a
provided.
use.
Go ahead.
That it is a use permitted as of right.
All right. So based on the information you provided, at least from my view, it appears that, I would be inclined to concur, but I would be interested in the remaining commissioners' view. Fran?
I agree. It seems pretty straightforward.
Right. So the two commissioners that are at liberty to offer insight have weighed in on the subject. Do any additional information, Marla?
Nope.
Right then. So we can move on. So they'll be able
So,
to deal with that.
Let me clarify.
Yeah.
So you want me to notify Diane that this is not a regulated activity? And if it were, it would have been considered a use permitted as of right under agriculture?
That's exactly what I was going to suggest, but you did it far more precisely than I would have.
Okay.
Thank you. All right, moving on to the next item. IWA 21030 Max Candidas, 0 Sunnyside Drive, Assessors Map 133, Block 1, Lot 3. Construct a driveway and septic system for a new single-family home, portions of which are in wetlands, and the 100-foot upland review area stamped received on 11/3/21 to be statutorily received on 11/9/21. What do we have?
So the application, I would suggest that you move to page 115, which gives you a locus map of the applicant where the site is.
Okay, we have that.
Okay, so this is near Jerry's Swamp, but it is not in Jerry's Swamp. And if you scroll down to the next page, you will see where all of the hit areas are for the Natural Diversity Database. And it's located in the upper right-hand corner of your screen.
Here,
No, right hand, not left hand.
that's my right hand.
East
Over
side.
here?
East side.
Oh, sorry, left hand then.
Yep.
Over here.
Your left hand.
That's well.
I'm looking
I was
at
on the
screen.
right. I was in East Thompson. Maybe your screen's been
East
inverted.
Thompson.
Yeah,
It's
that's
in
where I
East
was.
Thompson. You can actually see the pond that was referenced in the application,
Yeah.
showing as a little bump there in the Natural Diversity Database. And if you scroll down to page 118, 118 is an excerpt of a map that was originally done by Carolyn Werge identifying the significant wetlands. And so this area has been identified. You can see the lot has been crosshatched in blue.
Right.
It is not located in the significant wetlands area. So its upland review area is 100 feet, not 200, which would have been if it was identified in the red hatched green areas, which are the significant wetlands.
Okay.
And then you have, I think at this juncture, I don't see the site plans on here. I guess I didn't get them on there.
Excuse me, everyone. Daniel with J&D again. I have the site plans if you want to see them.
Okay, so I can
Yeah,
share.
he
I'll stop
screen-
sharing. Yeah, let me do that. Modern technology makes it a lot easier, huh?
Yeah. All right. Yeah. So as we were saying again, the site it's located off Sand Dam Road right here. And it's kind of sandwiched between a noteworthy wetland to the northeast and a noteworthy wetland to the southwest. And here is the site plan. Here's not much on sheet 2. Here's sheet 1 of the site plan. You can see the cul-de-sac for Sunnyside Drive at the bottom right-hand corner. Here's the water body up in the northeast corner. And then we have a driveway that skirts around close to the pond. And then right here, we have to disturb a small amount of these wetlands here before going up to the house and septic system.
So, George, just a quick comment on this. There is no other alternative access to this property that I am aware of, other than going through Sunnyside Drive. Correct me if I'm wrong, Daniel. This
That's
is the
correct.
only, this is a lot of record. So it's an existing property, undeveloped lot, and there are no other alternatives that could be identified, that I could identify when the application came in. But because there's actual work in wetlands, some minor filling in wetlands, it requires an individual permit and therefore can only be received at this time. Between now and the next meeting, I'll take us and do a site visit to see what kinds of conditions we have for the wetlands and for the storm drain outfall. That's the cross culvert on the driveway.
Right. Good. All right, then I guess there's nothing else for us to do at this point, is there? Just other than you looking at it and reporting back. Right.
Correct. It'll be
All
have
right.
to be considered at next month's meeting.
All right. Great. Okay, Mr. Blanchett, you can probably release it, and we'll try to jump back here. Let me see if I can.
Sir?
You bet. Thank you. Let me find screen 2. All right, we should be back. This is this the, okay, here's your email of October 28th. And notification, is there anything noteworthy on this, or it's pretty straightforward?
We should be getting a reply back from the Natural Diversity Database before you render a decision.
Great. Great, thank you very much. Thank you, Ms. Blanchett, for providing the assist on the documents. We overlooked those, so that's good. All right, moving on to the next item. We have applications received after the agenda was published. Any items?
None. None.
All right, excellent. Permit extensions, changes, I see none. Violations, we have notice of violation VIOL 21019 LIS Properties LLC, 715 Riverside Drive, Assessors Map 63, Block 58, Lot 23. Unauthorized structures diverting water courses, flooding Thatcher Road and Riverside Drive, issued on 7/7/21. Request removed or response by 7/13/21. Status. What do we have?
Okay, the structures, Marla Butt speaking, the structures were removed, but there appears to be some damage to the channel. So before I was left on vacation in September, I took a look at the property. I need to get back in touch with the property owner regarding remediating the channel as it goes through the area where the structure had been placed.
Okay, so you'll check on that and get that report back to us?
Yes. Yes.
Great. I hear no comments by any other commissioners. I'll move forward. Violation 21023, Jamie Pettit, 0 and 73 Center Street, Assessors Map 16, Block X, Lots H and 2. Unauthorized construction of retaining wall and associated backfill in or near Little Pond. Issued 8/24/21. Instruct cease further work by 9/8/21. Submit schedule for submission of A2 survey and attend IWC meeting. So do we have Mr. Jamie Pettit present?
Marla Butt speaking. I have had no contact with Jamie Pettit. That's a woman. And I did send her a copy of the agenda via email earlier today. Just as an FYI, Miss Pettit is due to give birth at sometime in December, so she may be not really available. So you'll just have to bear with it. It's not, that wall's not going to go away. I'll get in touch by phone, try to get in touch by phone to see if I can get some kind of idea of what actions they're taking regarding getting an A2 survey of their property.
All right. Okay,
So
but they
this
were
is just on
informed
hold
that
right now.
they should be attending, and they didn't respond, or you weren't able to find a response, I guess.
They did attend the September meeting, and he did agree that they were trying to get a land surveyor, but then they
Right.
never contacted me after that to say what they were doing, and I don't know what they're doing right now.
All right, then you'll reach out to
So I'll
them
have to
and
follow
verify
up.
that. Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Moving on to other business. We have a, that's what I just had. Revisions subdivision regulations posted in Thompson org for comment by January 31st, 2022.
Marla Butt speaking. There have been major changes suggested for the subdivision regulations, similar to major changes that were done to the zoning regulations. One of the things that I didn't pick up in the zoning regulations change was the lot size. Originally, the zoning lot size requirements had certain amounts, but removed from that amount any wetlands or slopes greater than 25% or ledge. That was removed from the zoning regs. So the zoning regs don't have any limitations to whether or not you have wetlands on your property or not. So in my review of the subdivision regulations, I haven't yet started it, but I had notified Tira Pengasic regarding my concerns that the subdivision regulations should not echo the current zoning regulations, that there should be a requirement to have a minimum lot size of a certain size that that removes from that calculation any wetlands or slopes greater than 25% or ledge, to mirror what historically had been. And I haven't had a chance to take a look to see if that has in fact been done. Also, given the history that we've had with Madison Avenue, the appendices primarily deal with the road construction. And I would like to take and review those in a little detail with Rich Benoit to make sure that we don't have the same kind of problems that we had with Madison Avenue in how the work was accomplished and bonded. And I don't know what other things in there might be of concern. I did take a real quick look at it and I saw that there's some notes in there that I'm supposed to be reviewing the FEMA, the floodplain aspects of subdivisions. So there's going to be other stuff in there that I'm probably going to have to be reviewing. I bring it to your attention because at next month's meeting, we probably should be talking about in details those items that may be of concern to the Wetlands Commission. So I would expect that in December, I'll come to you with my comments so that you can decide whether you want your comments to be included in that and being forwarded to the Planning and Zoning Commission for inclusion in their consideration.
All right, thank you. So what you're saying is make sure all commissioners review the subdivision regulations. I know I took a look at some of them and I think I reached out to Tara directly, unrelated to in the wetlands issues, but just in general. So it's certainly an ambitious initiative to revise all these documents, and it's no easy task. And the result, unintended consequences of any such regulation could be far-reaching. So it's important that we pay attention to them and try to give our best opinions. So you'll craft. Have you written your recommendations to the director of planning and zoning, or you're just verbally?
I haven't even reviewed the draft regulations. I did not get involved in the original drafts that they were coming up with like I did in the subdivision regulations. This time I said, I don't have the time to do it. And just show me what your final proposed draft is, and I'll comment on those.
All right. Okay, I guess we can always go back and look at their work group deliberations if they're posted on Zoom or something, or obtain a copy of the verbal discussions. All right, thank you.
They're in their minutes.
The minutes, I know, but it's a laborious activity.
I don't think they're doing.
They're not doing Zoom.
I don't think they're doing things by Zoom.
Right. Yeah. So you have to obtain a verbal copy, a digital copy of the deliberations, and review the written summary, and if there's something in there. All right. Next item is draft of the 2022 IWC meeting schedule.
This is required by state statute that it be submitted 30 days in advance. Usually it's done has to be to the town clerk by early in December, so she can assemble it all and send it to the Secretary of State. So these are all the Saturday site walks and the regular meetings, which would be on the second Tuesday of the month. Now it says regular meeting Monday. It says Monday, that should say regular meeting, not Monday. There shouldn't be a Monday in there anyway.
Right.
But the question I have is Tuesday, October 11th. That's the day after Columbus Day. Do you want to have it? This year, it was problematic because Columbus Day is on Monday, and that's usually when we, post if we're going to post make sure the agenda is posted by that time, and make sure if we're doing anything by virtual, that we have the Zoom documents posted. Do you want to do this meeting right after Columbus Day weekend, which would mean the site walk, if there was one, would be the Saturday before on a Columbus Day weekend? Do you want to push that off to another date, and I can find what date might be available if we were doing it in Town Hall?
Okay, great question. Commissioner Chapin or Moreno, any thoughts or feelings on that? Was that Fran?
Honestly, I mean, it sounds like it might impact things, but I don't care. My schedule is fairly flexible, so whatever works best for everybody else is good for me.
That's
Okay.
the way I,
Fran agrees?
yes.
Yeah, me too. If you push it, you're getting into deer hunting
Mhm.
season, so the hunters will be out there, but I have no issue
So
with
you want me to
October 11th.
submit the schedule as it's been drafted?
Unless there's a compelling reason to
Mm-mm.
do it.
It's your
I mean,
choice.
I guess I don't, a lot of not everybody celebrates Columbus Day, unfortunately, right? It's been, I guess the town does, right? Is the
No.
town celebrates Columbus Day? Yes, they
Town
do.
hall is
huh?
closed.
Okay, so
All right, so
Mhm.
Marla, from your perspective,
yeah,
it
maybe
would just
better to
mean if
move
we
it.
needed a site walk, it would be the backed up a week for the site walk.
It would be the Saturday of Columbus Day weekend.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I could care.
Yeah, or you could, if you need a day breather to get prepped for the meeting, I guess is what I'm reading into this. If Monday's a holiday.
Right, if it impacts you, Marla,
Yeah,
then
maybe
let's
push it
change
a
it.
day.
I mean, because I
Yeah.
think the rest of us are pretty,
Right,
we don't have to bring as much to the party
No.
as you do.
right. So that's what I'm thinking. Maybe move it a day or so.
Well,
What would you
I don't plan on
recommend
doing-
is a good day? 2022.
My opinion is I'll have to learn to work around it. I just don't plan on taking 3 weeks this year. The next year, I'll only be probably taking 2 weeks. So I'll try to schedule it so that I'm back.
Well, if it's
It's your choice. That's fine.
we don't want to jam you up on timing if you can't be properly prepared. But that being said, if it could just move it a day or
Mhm.
something, and say if it's Wednesday instead, would that be better for you? I mean, that'd give you the day and.
Well, the problem becomes is that town hall gets booked, and by that time you'll probably be doing in-person meetings.
I would hope.
And the rooms are scheduled. Yeah, Wednesday would probably be better.
Yeah.
If you want to do it Wednesday, we do have a conference room in the meetings upstairs on the second floor. So even if the main room was occupied,
Right.
I could check that out and set
Okay.
that up for Wednesday.
Why don't we look at the schedule that something makes sense? And you bring up an excellent point, which is I think near and dear to my heart, is that if we could have effective hybrid meetings going forward once we resume after the schedule, then we need to do that, in my view. I understand the town today and other rooms are already wired for it, and I don't think we need to go to the extent of the auditorium to have a lot of people involved, but just to be able to monitor and we could just handle this in person. It's concurrent with simultaneous with a live meeting, should be readily manageable. Like other people do it. So let's try to find a day that week, not rather than sliding too much around. If the next day works, that would give you more time. I mean, if you have a day off, then you need that time to relax. If not you, then somebody. We all need to take advantage of holidays. There's only so many, and we only have so many to enjoy. So why don't you take a look, revise it,
All right,
and
then-
recommend.
I can make arrangements for it to be on Wednesday. So we'll change it to October 12th,
Perfect.
and it'll just be a different location. Okay.
Yeah,
Thank
if
you.
it's booked, if it's already
I'll
booked,
make that
move
submission.
us around. Yeah, maybe they'll build a new, maybe they'll have another place. If it's a big demand date, we go to the library or something. I don't know, someplace. Great.
Mhm.
Okay, on to the next item. Let's be flexible. There's only so many things we can enjoy and control these days. Budget and expenditures and agent report. Budget.
Okay, budget. This is Commissioner Chapin. The budget, we have a budget. This is for July 1st through October 29th. We have a budget that was of 26,359. We have year-to-date expenditures of 6,585, leaving us an available budget of 20,353.15, and we have expended 22.8% of our budget.
So we have extra budget there, right, to work with. Or am I doing the math wrong? Great, thank you very much. Any questions for Commissioner Chapin? All right, hearing on. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No questions. Sounds
No
good.
questions. Okay, thank you, Commissioner Moreno. Wetlands agent report.
Okay. On updates, on September 15th of this year, I received notification that the Court of Appeal on application IWA 15029, that was Rivers Junction Estates LLC, AKA Star Road, had been decided. I believe I sent you all a copy of that decision. On September 16th, I forwarded a copy of that decision to you and to other town staff for their review. This appeal only dealt with one count of a 2-count appeal. It was my understanding that if River Junction Estates did not prevail in its claim that Star Road was a town road, then the remaining complaint would be moot. River Junction Estates did not prevail as the appellate court determined that there was inadequate evidence presented by River Junction Estates to prove that, quote, Star Road, unquote, was a town road. The decision, however, does not seem to assign ownership of the area previously referred to as Star Road in the application documents. So my question is that area that was previously identified as Star Road still in the possession of the town? Don't know. I'll follow up to determine the status with the Selectman's office and the town's legal counsel. Which legal counsel, I'm not sure, because Halloran and Sage were the attorneys for the interveners, and now they are the town's attorney. At the time, William St. Ange was the town's legal counsel, so I'm not sure which legal counsel I'll be talking with. Also, due to my absence from the office over the past 2 months for various reasons, no progress has been made on the MS4 2019 to 2020 annual report or anything on the records disposal. Regarding inspections and follow-up actions on complaint 20-14, that was Philip LeBlanc, that was that pond dredging at 295 Linehouse Road. I still need to send a letter to Mr. and Mrs. LeBlanc advising them to do no more earth moving work or construction work either in the pond or within 100 feet of the pond without first obtaining approval from the Inland Wetlands Commission. Complaint 2111, that's 1208 Riverside Drive. That was Susan Eklund. That was where there was a trailer reported having been occupied to the rear of the house on that property, potentially with a septic system that was built perhaps within the 100-foot upland review area. I provided a photo of the trailer to the building office, and the course of action is still pending results from the building office's inspection. Complaint 2114, I got a report of large stones being placed next to 3 and 4 Logie Road, a pond at 3 and 4 Logie Road on September 27th of this year. This site was the subject of Wetlands Agent Approval WAA 21003 for clear cutting and regrading in the 100-foot upland review area. Gary Rawson, who received the approval, responded to my inquiry on 10/13/21, reporting that a number of large stones were uncovered during the regrading process, and they were placed just above the high water line for the pond that abuts the clearing operation. He told me that ground stabilization was pending, so I'll inspect that site as time allows. Permit IWA 20022, this is Mark Bear's property at 1227 Thompson Road. On October 18th of this year, I conducted a site inspection of the permit site to check on site conditions. While retaining walls are still under construction and the house foundation installed, there was no evidence of any sediment reaching Little Pond. The erosion controls were still functioning. However, some site conditions do not conform to the modified site plan approved by the commission at its February 9th, 2021 meeting. There are now 2 retaining walls west of the house between the house foundation and Route 193. The modified plan shows only 1. There is a concrete conduit that's been placed over the well that's to be abandoned near the Harger property. I also noted that there were numerous cracks in the west walls of the foundation, and a portion of the west house foundation wall appeared to be bowed inward. I notified the building official, who subsequently inspected the site and issued a stop work order on October 19th, 21, requiring Mr. Baer to address several foundation issues, including the foundation failure and the failure to address the space underneath the attached garage in the house plans. If you looked at the drawings that the commission had gotten, there was you were led to believe that the garage was a at-grade drive-in garage, but he actually has a whole room underneath the garage, and that's not shown on the building permit house plans. I'm going to read to you what the Terry Bellman, the building official, wrote to Mr. Baer on the 19th. Dear Mr. Baer, I visited the site of your new construction at 1227 Thompson Road to inspect the foundation of the new home. After inspecting the foundation, I could virtually see the back wall of the foundation is bowed in, and there are several cracks in the foundation wall. Unfortunately, due to the severity of these issues, the foundation has failed. You will have to employ a structural engineer to determine if these cracks and the bowed wall of the foundation can be remediated. If not, the foundation wall will have to be dug out, removed, and re-poured. I also have a concern that hasn't been addressed regarding the foundation area below the attached garage space. There appears to be an area of space under the attached garage that is not attached on the that is not addressed on the house plans. My concern is what is planned for the garage floor. The weight of the garage floor and the vehicular weight on the space below is concerned. Based on the failing foundation, I have issued a stop work order. No more work can be done on this project until you modify your building plans and get an engineered repair for the foundation. I need to review the engineered plans and approve it prior to repair. Please contact our office to discuss these issues at your earliest convenience. I will coordinate with the building official and take actions as needed to address any outstanding non-compliance issues with the approved modified plans. So this site is in flux right now, but as long as there's no sedimentation getting to Little Pond, I think the non-conforming issues can be on hold until they finally get addressed what's going on with the house foundation.
Okay, thank you, Marla. Does that conclude your report?
No, I was able to review 7 building permits, and I did pay Stonebridge Press legal notice for Jody Apron and Andrew and Kathleen Ellis that were issued back in September, and that's it.
Wow, busy. And you were out as well, so you were very productive.
We tried.
Thank you so much. So that's the end. Other items, no correspondence, no Mylars, comments by
No.
commissioners. Commissioner, take your choice, Diane or Fran, as we wish.
No comments here.
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you.
All right, I have no additional comments other than to say thank you very much for your hard work. I know you were out and you've done a lot, Marla, and in your in the short time you've been around since you returned. And do I have a motion for adjournment?
It's Commissioner Chapin. I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? Motion
second.
made and second. I hear no opposition. All those in favor, aye.
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 Okay, the meeting is adjourned. It's 8:39 p.m. Eastern Time. Thank you, Dan, for attending, and Amy for being moderator.